Yeah.
All right, so first off, what's your name?
My name is Rick Justus.
All right, and what was your position in the military?
I was a radio communications analysis specialist for a period of 24 years. Served overseas 14, served at Fort Meade for 9, and 1 in Texas. I can't forget basic training and technical training, and then going back for the NCO Leadership School and the NCO Academies, which were professional schools to enhance military management in my career.
Awesome. So, like you said, you served. When did you serve?
I served from 1970 to February of 1994.
And where did you serve?
Well, the first 8 months was in Texas at basic training in San Antonio, and then up in San Angelo, a little place called Goodfellow Air Force Base, which is still open. And then I was shipped over to Japan. I served 14 months at one place on Kyushu, Hakata Air Station. Then I went to Misawa Air Base after that for 2 years. Then I went to Crete, Greece for 3 years. Then up to Germany for 4 years. I was in the bomb holder Army sub-community area, but working out of Ramstein Air Base, Germany. And then came back to Fort Meade for 3 years. Then went to South Korea, to Osan Air Base, South Korea for 1 year. Probably one of the best years of my career. I was put in a great operational position to be a reporting authority and releaser. And my team of 15, we actually scored 97% accuracy and led the unit. So they were very pleased with what I was doing there. It was great for my career there. Then I came back to Fort Meade for 4 years, and then was offered the opportunity to go back over to Ramstein, Germany, to work with the headquarters USAFE, which is United States Air Forces Europe, Intel section there, as the superintendent for a unit that worked right with the Air Force Intel there. So that was very good. And then I came back for about 2 years to Fort Meade and retired right here in Albany, Maryland.
Awesome. Where did you go, and what did you do after leaving the military? You sort of got into that, but
well, I went to a temporary position company down in Rockville, and I'd seen their ad in the Gazette, and we had the Albany Gazette going on then, and so I went down and talked to them, and they put me to work. And I had a lot of administrative capabilities. I could type real fast because that's what I had to do when I was in the service. And I managed people in the service also. And so that was good for me to use those trades that I'd learned there. And then I went to so they put me in answering telephones or doing different things. And finally got into a data processing, data entry position for a program for the Food and Drug Administration. It's called the Medical Device Reporting, and so any medical device that would have would work improperly or whatever, it had to be documented by a doctor, and then they would turn that in, and then it would filter down to my position as one of the people, and we'd do that data entry. It was pretty interesting. I wound up supervising that team later on. There was 18 people working for me then, and because I'd had managerial knowledge while I was in the Air Force, so that was a big help to get that position. Then I worked for insurance office as their general manager for 4 years over in Columbia, and then I went to work in Rockville for a telephone company that sold special kinds of equipment for telephone major companies. And then after that, I went to Chevy Chase Bank, and I was an office manager there. And then they for 90 days, and then they hired me to work full time. And I worked there for 5 years already. Then I was there during the Capital One purchase of Chevy Chase Bank. So I worked down in Tyson Corner for about 5-6 months, and I said that's enough of that. I didn't like driving across that bridge and the snow and everything, and short, quick trip down, but a long trip home. And I said enough of that, so then I retired. I just stopped working there. And then I became a paraeducator here in the Montgomery County school system. I worked in a grade school and a middle school for 5.5 years, and that was kind of how I wrapped things up. So it was a good way for me to give back, especially the last 5.5 years, because I was a personal, I accompanied a student that had special needs and was able to help them turn many things in their lives around and give them some good physical stability. And that was important for me to do, as I've done with scouting and as I'm doing with the Legion now.
That's great. Why did you join the Legion Norman Price Post number 68?
Well, first, it's the local one, and second, I knew it through Boy Scouts, through Troop 264, because I have a photo of my son Anthony, who's now an Eagle Scout and so on. But when he was a Cub Scout in 434, which is the troop the pack that we grew up in Greenwood, we went to Legion flags, and he's saluting a member of the American Legion up in Sunshine, and Elizabeth is standing there. My daughter Elizabeth is standing there in her little brownie uniform, and they looked very cute. So, but that was, so I knew of them. They kept saying, you ought to join up, you were in the military and you ought to join us. And I said, okay, fine. And then I got to know the people better. And I knew that everybody was getting more senior. And I said, well, maybe it's time for me to make that move. So I thought about it real hard. I joined up about 3 years ago. And then I've gone through the process of being a committee member and in charge of the scouting as the scouting liaison with Troop 264 and then Pack 434 and now Pack 1074. And then I became the vice commander for a year. And now I've been tapped and have been selected to be their new commander starting on June 1st. So that's my transition there.
Awesome. So that sort of goes into your question, the next question, which is about your role in Post 68. Just what is it? What?
Well, as basically I've been working the scouting in. That was one of the things I knew about, and Martin Prudell, who's another strong member of our post, he'd been the commander and also the liaison for the scouts. So I was able to take over that as a position and work with our two scout troops, the boys and the girls troops within 264, and then the two packs, and be the liaison there. And a lot of it was then scheduling events that we could do together, such as the Legion flags, which we'll be doing tomorrow on Memorial Day of 2024. And we go to 7 different locations around the Olney, Brookville, Ashton, Sandy Spring area, and honor our fallen brethren and fallen veterans. I'll put it that way. I don't want to exclude anybody there, but it's very important to do that. Being a retired military person, I know the value of that, and I appreciated that the Scouts and the Legion do that. And that was one of the things that drew me to the Legion, was that I wanted to make sure that's continued in this location. And we'll see how many show up, but normally we get 35 to 40 people, counting Scouts and families, to go around on that Legion Day. The other thing is that I wanted to help sustain the Post 68. As I mentioned, they're getting senior, and I want to make sure that we have a credible organization that will continue. It's been going since 1920, all right, and it's never stopped. So I want to be part of that continuum. And I think that's important, and I'm trying to recruit some other people that are younger than me, so and that also are interested in that same type of an idea.
All right, so you started to get into this, but what are some of the ways that you interact with the community as a member of Post 68?
I participate with the post and learned a lot through the scout troop. Understand that also, because they were doing activities such as marching in the parade, going to the flag retirement ceremonies, going to the Legion flags days that we'll have tomorrow. And I learned a lot of things through the troop and for community involvement. And then the Legion was doing those things also. So I met the Legion members and decided to join them to to help sustain the unit. That was one of my thoughts, and it's an important thing in my life to do that, to help sustain that. So I've stopped being the chairman of the committee, the troop committee. I served there for 8 years, and another credible young man has taken that over, and it's all good.
So how do you interact with the community as a member of Post 68?
So there's been quite a few things that I've learned over the years that benefit not only the units, the scout units that I was involved with, but also the American Legion. And we do show our faces where we attend a lot of different things. I've marched in the Sandy Spring anniversary for the Methodist Church over there. I think it was their 100th anniversary, something like that. We just marched a couple years ago as a Legion member, and then marched in the Olney Days parades. I've worked at the Olney Days events over there. We provide a scholarship to youth from the from the Sherwood High School, which is located here in Sandy Spring. And we've done that annually for, I don't know, 30 years, probably something like that. And I was able to present that to a student last week, and that will go towards his college education. So other things that I have done with the Post is to assist them in sponsoring not only Troop 264, which was originally sponsored back in 1927 by the Post, and so it's been continuous for over 75 years. And I've been active in the Scout troop since 2005, when my son joined in October of 2005. And then we picked up a venture crew for a while, which is Scouts aged 14 to 21. And then now they allow, the Scouts of America allow girls to join a scouting troop and also go for Eagle, which is something different that was not available for girls before they allowed them to do that now. So I think that's been a very good move for them. And to, the Eagle badge and the Eagle rank is recognized throughout our nation anyway, as having some knowledge and capabilities for leadership and skills like that you probably won't get taught anywhere else. Plus you get to go camp a lot, travel around to other campsites, do all kinds of camping. And myself, I am an Eagle Scout, and then my son Anthony followed as an Eagle Scout also, and then my daughter is a Venture Silver. So they're all assistant scoutmasters in our two troops and following on. They're fun. They're outdoors kids. They love it. So it was very good for them to learn skills for the outdoors and things like that. So that's why I help promote that. As a Legion person, I'm going to continue to help promote that, because our Post charters the boys troop, the girls troop, and then Pack 434 at Greenwood and Pack 1074 at Belmont Elementary, right here in the Olney area and Brookville. And that's important because we're allowing those youth to grow up and get all those skills and leadership ability and camaraderie, and just learn how to live with nature. Okay, and a lot of other things too. We got merit badges and skills and all kinds of things, from computers and STEM to fire trucks and whittling. How to carve a stick. So we know how, and we love to go camping. So there's no question about that. So that's another way I interact with that, is because now I'm a signature on those documents every year. We have to renew the charter for the Scout units, and that's done nationally, but we have to do that on an individual basis to renew that and make sure that we're providing what they need and they're viable in their own units. That's the main things right there right now. Is I also did, what was it? Another member, Martin Prudell, and I, we went over to the corner of Georgia Avenue on Maryland 108 during a Scout meeting. It was on a Monday night, and that happened to be the last anniversary for the 9/11 disaster, I'll call it, up in New York and Pennsylvania and DC. It was a candlelight vigil, and we had our candles, and we stood there with other people, and we're pausing to remember that event. That's enough.
All right.
Thank you.
Next question: what would you tell a person if they were interested in joining Post 68?
I'd say number one, if you're military, active duty, or retired, or a veteran, we're always looking for new people to join us, because we want to make sure we're promoting and fostering the principles of good citizenship, number one, and then remembrance of our veterans, number two, and then helping our community by sponsoring Scout units and other things we can do. We've been to the National Night Out and served as honor guard in the past. I know that they used to be the honor guard for the Women's Hospital Bazaar, and so it was important to show up and be there as a viable community unit in the community of Olney and Sandy Springs and Brookville. So we all live in this area basically, and we want to make it a good community. So we provide service in that manner. I've sat with a couple other members of the Post right at one of the gas stations there that would allow us there, and we sold our little poppies, to remind people to remember those fallen heroes. And so it's just, keeping in mind that people died in war to promote our nation, to keep our nation safe. And that's what we're going to do tomorrow as we go around to our Legion flags tomorrow and to 7 different locations.
Awesome. How have you enjoyed your experience in Post 68?
Post 68's been a lot of fun for me to merge into it and meet new people. I've known 3 or 4 of the gentlemen over the years. Now I've met some. We have ladies that have joined also, doctor and a nurse, and we're always looking for other new people to come in. We're busy trying to recruit people that are interested in serving their nation and their community after being in the military service in some capacity. And so it's been fun to do that, and I'm meeting a lot of people doing that. Plan to go to the state convention in July for the state level of the American Legion as a new commander and learn more about responsibilities and how the system works and what we should be doing.
Awesome. What does being a member of the American Legion mean to you?
It's another way I can further my service to the nation that I love, America. We still need to care for our nation and help it foster all the things that the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, all those things that are said that you studied about in history, and I hope you're still studying about in history. They're very important, I feel, and this is another way that I can engage youth to study those things and understand them so that they can promote and do that for their children also, the youth that they bring on. Keep it a continuum, if you will. Thank you.
How has being a part of the armed services translated into your membership in the American Legion? Or in other words, how do you feel like your role in the American Legion is a continuation of your service to your country and your community?
I served 24 years in the Air Force as a senior, and wound up as a senior NCO, Master Sergeant in the U.S. Air Force. And I learned leadership and managerial responsibilities and how to work with personnel also, because you have to form a team when you're in the military, whether it's one person or a squad or a platoon or whatever it is. You have to form a team, and you want to make the best team you can, because that's probably survival for some people, depending on what your job is. I had more of an administrative job. I never really carried a weapon in my 24 years, but I was doing classified information, so that was important for me to do that and realize the responsibilities for that. The way that this is translated over is that I'm now again working with people that served our nation in different capacities. We have Navy, Air Force, Army, Marines, and I'm hoping to get a Civil Air Patrols and now an Army Reserve lady to join up, and looking at other people that I'm just always looking for other people that are interested in doing community service and furthering the work of our American Legion in any capacity that they can do that. So I'm pleased because I learned about military bearing and all that. I wore a little hat like this kind of, but I didn't have any gold braid because that was for officers, was the braid. I had one that was plain for the NCOs, and but it was very, I got my honorable discharge and proud of it. And this is just another way I can give back in a military fashion, honoring the military that have gone before me and helping our nation. Thank you.
All right. Up next, I have some specific questions about different community service things that the American Legion is involved in. You do the All-Day Days Parade in the Laytonsville and Sandy Spring 2 parades in the community. Can you tell us a little bit more about that, the importance, the significance?
Well, we show our flag. Okay, we have a very beautiful American Legion flag, and we call them colors, and we have our American flag, and we march with that. We have a banner that shows who we are, and we hope it will inspire other people to come and join our unit. And so as I say, we've marched in the All-Day Days Parade. We've marched over here in Sandy Spring, and we've been up to Laytonsville Laytonsville a few times there. Just marched there last week. We are, and then we also, I just remembered too, another thing we participate in is the Laytonsville Elementary School invites our post and other veterans of that school to visit them on Veterans Day, which is normally the 11th of November. And there we go in and they take their gymnasium and it's full of all the students and 60 to 100 veterans and other parents that show up. They find a keynote speaker and they recognize the veterans and those that are active duty right now of students that are right there in that school. It's kind of fun to see a mom or dad stand up and the little boy goes, "That's my mom, that's my dad," because they get excited about that too. That's what their parents have chosen to do, is to serve our nation in that capacity. So it's important for me to do that. And then they sing some good songs and things like that, that remind you of America. So that's one thing very important, and we're very honored to do that. We also serve the Vietnam Veterans anniversary date. That's remembering when we left Vietnam in 1975, is the date that's on record, because we want to remember our veterans. That's what we do, and that was a big part of it. Other veterans coming home from all the wars and all our skirmishes and things like that going on since World War II, Korea, Vietnam, you name it, you can look on the list. There's Kosovo, there's other places that we've been to in nations, Afghanistan, Iraq, we've gone in places in Africa where we've served, military have served around the world, and they're hot spots. So the military is very important, and we all make sure they're taken care of. We especially all make sure they're taken care of if they have been wounded. So we try to work with the wounded warriors also and make sure that they are being cared for. There's many programs out, and besides the Veterans Administration or the VA, which is the government side of things, but there's very many different organizations to support the wounded warriors that have come home and are having issues returning to civilian life. So that's another part that we want to do, and we want to be there for them. Tomorrow is Memorial Day, and we've invited the American Legion Post 68 has invited the 2 scout troops, 264 boys and 264 girls, and PAX 434 Greenwood and 1074 Belmont to join us, as they have in years past, to go around to 7 different locations in the Olney, Brookville, Sandy Spring area to visit graves and cemeteries and memorials to remember them on Memorial Day, which is a national holiday. Started, sorry, I don't know what day it started, but cut that one out. Stop. You want to cut that one out. Anyway, but I feel it's very important to do that, to remember those military personnel who have given their all for our nation. We wouldn't be the nation had they not done that. I know I've met people that have been in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and then war since then, battles since then, skirmishes since then, operations since then, and they need not be forgotten. It's important for us to know that. So we'll be going to start at St. John's Episcopal Church tomorrow. That's where, as you can see here, it says Norman Price on my shirt, and Norman Price is actually buried there at the St. John's Cemetery, and he was the driver for Dr. Bird, who was the local doctor here in the area of Olney and Sandy Spring, and there's a road even named for Dr. Bird, so right in Sandy Spring. So he was the driver in World War I for him, and did pass away over there so that's the reason they chose his name in 1920 then, when our post was formed. And so there's a name on every post of significance to that area, that group of people, that community, and that's how we wound up with the Norman Price name back in 1920 when they started our post. We've had a state president, David Brigham. I'm not sure when it was. I'd have to look that one up, but he was certainly for 2 years. He was president of the national, at the national level for at the state level, the Maryland state level, not the national level. He ran for national level, but it was was not selected for that term. But 2 years, and that's a pretty big deal when you think little old Sandy Spring is where he lived, you know. And so we've done a lot that way. Sorry, I'm having a mind blank here. Other ways that I support. Oh yes, so we have we use our flags and so on to go to all these cemeteries and the memorial at Sherwood High School, and then we also collect flags at 2 locations. One is Fletcher's gas station right there, in the BP station right there in Olney, and also over at the Zimmerman Hardware in Burtonsville. They also collect flags for us, and so we take the soiled flags or damaged flags that are turned into those 2 locations, and we have an official legal flag retirement ceremony where we actually will officially burn American flags in a legal manner, in a proper way, with reverence, and make sure they're taken care of properly. They are not to be thrown in the trash and buried in somebody's dump. That's inappropriate according to laws and importing in our nation, and we want to make sure we're fulfilling that by doing our part in that. And that's another way that we instill to the youth, because we invite our 2 troops and 2 packs and the community to come and observe that ceremony, and they can even participate and place a flag in the fire if they desire to do that, to be a participant in that manner. So in closing, I'd like to reflect back a little bit on another reason that I joined the American Legion Post, and that was the camaraderie that I saw and the knowledge that these people had, this membership of this post. I remember when I was doing, as a scout leader, was going around on Legion flags, and my son and my daughter were involved in that, and I'd sit there and I'd listen to these gentlemen and ladies talking about things they had done during the war, whichever war that might have been. And I thought that's pretty amazing, and I had those kinds of stories also, but I knew my children would receive them from someone else probably a little better. So I said, sit over here and listen to this gentleman talk. And one of those was Halsey Smith, who you've already met. Another one was Martin Prudell, who you will meet. And it was important for me to have my children learn from these seniors that did what they did to save our nation. Because they were passing it on, and now through this Scout project, we are Eagle Scout Project, this is going to pass on what we have done and what we are continuing to do as a post. So I think it's very important that we're doing that, and I'm very pleased that we have an Eagle Project that is doing this actual video to help us commemorate everything that we do, and to help us keep our post running, basically, because we need more people that understand that we're available to help with various service projects and things like that, and we want to help the community. Another thing we do in the community is we have been offering a scholarship to a student senior from Sherwood High School. It's been my honor to present one of those scholarships on 2 occasions, the last 2 occasions, last year and then just last week at the Sherwood award ceremony. I again provided a $1,000 scholarship to a graduating senior who happened to be the son of a military retiree. So that's kind of the way we're keying things now, is to make sure we're taking care of our military, and so we are taking care of it in that manner, offering they take that $1,000 and apply that to their scholarship to the school of their choice. And the young man there is going to go into veterinary medicine, he said. So we're all glad that he's going to help out our farmers, which are very important to make our food, and veterinarians, the dogs and cats that some people love. I'm a lover of dogs and cats too, but you know, they want to maintain their health and well-being. So it's for families that have those animals. It's been an honor to speak on this tape today, and I appreciate that honor, and I'm going to do my very best to carry Post 68 forward for a few years and be active with it and help it continue. Thank you very much.